Ladies and gentlemen, mutants and Olympians, I am the comic outlaw. And indeed, we're doing Wolverine and Hercules 404. Yes, we're finishing this one out. How these two buddies fight the Kraken and the plans of King Eurystheus and his mighty horde of undead soldiers. Well, we'll find out. Let's not forget the Hand is back. And speaking of the Hand, our duly representative of the Hand is getting his rear handed to him by Wolverine. This man was responsible for the death of his love a long time ago, so each year Wolverine has taken a piece of him, making him more cyborg now than anything else. As you can tell with his arm, he does more like electric bolts, but it's to no avail. He's fighting Wolverine, one of the best fighters that ever lived. And Wolverine knows that it's time. He's made him a promise that this year, this is going to be the year he died. But meanwhile, these two sailors are in for a rude surprise as they catch the mother of all octopus, the Kraken. Try eating that calamari if you know what I mean. And the Kraken appears and just swallows everything whole. Look at the size of this beast. As it begins its reign of terror. It's big, mean, fierce, and most of all, hungry. And from falling out of the blackbird, here comes Hercules going Geronimo. I tell you, everyone has keys to that blackbird. And Hercules lands and tries to do what he can, but gets swatted away by the Kraken and is left in the sea, while Wolverine is dealing with his ninja. And as good as the ninja is, you know, he is a warrior, a lord for the Hand. He's just not up to snuff. Wolverine's been through too many battles. He's shed too much blood over mud in different territories, countries, worlds, you name it. Wolverine has killed it. And of course, this ninja ends up falling by the hand, or the claw, I should say, of Wolverine. Wolverine grabs a sword and decides to give him a pseudo-honorable death as he extends the sword ready. He is ready to die, and Wolverine is ready to kill him, to let go of that little piece of her that he had, to change and let go of that past by cutting his head off. But meanwhile, the Kraken appears, and the Kraken's destroying everything in sight. It's been a while since the Kraken's been fed, but there's good old Hercules, standing ready to fight. And the Lion Olympus is doing what the Lion Olympus does, trying to cause a little havoc and destruction. But the Kraken is just too big, and decides to make Hercules a little snack. And as he's about to swallow Hercules whole, and Hercules is wishing for that little bit of luck that would come out of nowhere, all of a sudden, Wolverine pulls out Medusa's head. And just like in a certain movie, the Kraken freezes. And this has been an on-running joke between Hercules and Wolverine, since he does like the Clash of the Titans movie and Hercules absolutely hates it. He decides to do what they do in the movie. Spoilers if you haven't seen it, it came out a long time ago in the 60s. They made a real crappy one in the 2000s. But anyways, the Kraken is frozen in stone. And of course, Wolverine puts the head back in the bag. Hercules gives him a pseudo thank you, but they still have the army of the dead to deal with. And it looks like they're not going to go down easy. Our Minotaur associate is reminding the king of what's going on. And this is the point where the king starts to get a little arrogant. He thinks that he has the numbers. But these are soldiers of the undead against Wolverine and Hercules. Wolverine, the master of anarchy. The man who's been through war after war, and Hercules, the Lion of Olympus. These two men literally start tearing their way through until someone appears. Someone that controls these undead hordes. Could it be Pluto? And even though they're undead and under that king's control, in the end, they're still ruled by Pluto. But of course, Pluto decides to let him have a little fun. And Wolverine and Hercules just start destroying, they start decimating them. Which is just all kinds of awesome. You gotta love the artwork here. This would just make a wonderful poster. And, he gives a little yawn, snaps his fingers, and everything disappears. Back to the land of the dead. Back to the land that he rules. His keep. And Wolverine was kind of like, well, what happened? I was barely breaking a sweat. But of course, they round up the Minotaur King. Pluto goes on to take a little credit for himself. He's angry at the king, of course, for trying to take his undead army, which is his. And if you try to take something that belongs to Pluto, he takes something from you. Wolverine is at the graves of people he's buried in the past, and Hercules comes to see him. And this is one of those buddy moments that I think they should make more of these issues, because I like the way these two guys gel together. Hercules understands. Hercules is buried. Many a friend, many a lover, many a warrior and associate. He understands what Wolverine is going through. And if they're immortal, then they'll be immortal together as friends. And they'll continue the fight, knowing that in one way or the other, they're not alone. And a little flashback to the past where Hercules meets Wolverine for the first time. And they have that moment. And I swear, I love the way the chemistry between these two. They ought to make another series with these two. And they mentioned the king and what happened to him. Well, he's locked in a box somewhere with a little flashlight in a big cemetery, trapped. A fitting end for a king to have nothing more than a fading light and then disappearing into eternal darkness, for he lives forever. And our ninja is brought back as well. For not all immortality is a gift. For some people, it's a curse. It all depends on what you live and who you live for. Yeah, that's our lesson. I'm the Comic Outlaw, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Yeah.